Hello, everybody. Good morning for those of you on the west side of the country. Good lunchtime to those of you on the east side of the country. We're in the Casa de Caca today, and the reason for that is that a lot of people seem very confused about our composting toilet situation. So, we're going to talk about it a little bit. We're going to answer some questions.
You're going to talk about it a little bit.
Somebody's a little snotty. Not in that way. I just mean you got a lot of throat congestion and it hurts to talk. So I'm going to be talking most of the time. You can just give me dirty looks.
Okay.
Hey.
No, not that
Not that kind of dirty. Sorry. Okay, so how are we going to do this? Because I feel like we need to show it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I can hold the camera.
You can hold the camera?
Show you.
Okay, well, let's talk high level first.
Okay.
So, composting toilets work. I'm going to start at the beginning. I think it's important. Composting toilets work generally by separating your liquids and your solids, right? So, when you combine the liquids and the solids from the bathroom, you create sewage. And it's pretty gross. But if you keep them separate, those two things can be used a lot of different ways.
Let me also interrupt. They don't have to be separated.
That's true. However, when you do separate them and then you try to compost them...
It takes longer.
When you don't separate them.
When you don't separate them, it takes longer to compost, and you have to add more material.
Much longer, yeah. So that's the reason that most composting toilets work by separating those two things, because it speeds up the composting process considerably. So in this case, we have all these barrels, all these urine diverters, and things go to the septic, and all that is to make the composting time as quick as possible. Mm-hmm. Okay, where to start? How do we start?
Well, I will show you showing them.
You will show me showing them.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so let's take a look at one barrel, right? Hold on.
Can it be flipped around?
I don't think so. No, yeah, it can.
Okay, how do I do it? Okay.
Okay, so we're inside here, and I'm going to go down so we can actually see what's going on. So this is our active barrel. Now, a lot of people have been wondering why we have 6 barrels and if we're going to be going to the bathroom all at the same time and how it all works, but essentially this is a one-person bathroom. There is one person using this toilet. Right? This is the only one that's active. There's only one active at a time. And you can see it's got this whole situation. It's got some vents coming off of it. It's got a little bug trap. So there's like a part of a soda bottle that's in here. So if any bugs were to get inside here, they would hopefully fly up, get stuck in here. There's also a venting tube, which you can see coming out of the back of here. And that's why we put vents on each corner of the Casa de Caca, because depending on which barrel we're using, we need to connect this tube and let stuff vent out.
So it goes up there and out the wall.
Yeah. And then all of this is held down with springs and bolts so that the seat doesn't move, and also it's got seals around everything so that basically, so we don't want bugs to get inside this barrel while it's composting. There's seals here, there's seals here. So, all that being said, we do have those red funnels in here connected to a fuel tube which goes to our septic. So let's talk about that for a second. So again, the idea is that we're going to separate the liquids from the solids. So when we go to the bathroom, we're going to sit down, the liquids will go down the tube, it will go out to our main traditional septic tank. That is a requirement by the county, which Personally, I think it's kind of dumb because I think you should be able to dilute that and use it to water trees and stuff. Regardless, we're connected to the septic. And then the rest of this barrel is all going to be for the solids. Now, it's not just the solids. Every time you use this, you're going to be putting in some wood shavings over top of it. And also, when you go to the bathroom, you're going to be adding water to that tube. So you want to dilute the urine essentially every single time that you use it. So the reason this is a one-person thing and the reason we have 6 barrels is that it's going to take, how long do you think to fill this barrel up for us as a family of 6?
Probably a few months.
Okay, we'll say 3 months it takes to fill up this barrel. When this barrel is done, we're going to take this whole lid off and we're going to move it to the next barrel. And then we're going to take the bug screen and the skirt and we're going to move it over here. And then this is going to have to sit for...
as long as possible.
Yeah, as long as possible. Even by separating the liquids and the solids, it still takes a very long time to compost. So the reason that we have 6 barrels is because with 6 people, by the time you fill up this barrel and this barrel and this one, you get all the way to the end. Hopefully by the end of that, by the time you filled up your last barrel, this one has been composted. And during that time, you've added wood chips, you've got your aerator, you're adding a little bit of water, you're encouraging that composting process. And then you can just come in here with a shovel and just shovel out into a wheelbarrow and take it out. And then you're done.
Do you want to explain the aerator? Do you want to show that?
Yeah, sure.
I think you should keep that lid open, show how it works.
So the aerator just has apparently a cricket on it. It's just kind of like a little tiny auger. So all you do is you just put it in there and you just kind of mix up that material. You get it moving. That way it's not all just stuck at the bottom. You want to keep that stuff moving, keep it aerated. You want to get it to compost as quickly as you can. Have I talked about all of it? Is there any other things we should talk about?
So before we even start using what is going to go in the barrel, you know, we want to explain that.
What do you mean?
We had to put a large chunk of wood chips in there before.
Right. As we're going to the bathroom and putting wood chips in, do you put more wood chips in after?
Yeah, everything always gets covered completely, but you start out with a big layer of shavings in there too.
Okay, yeah. And so you can see we've already got our trash can here. That's going to be full of those wood shavings. There's lots of ways we can store stuff on these other barrels that aren't in use, which is really handy. Yeah, and that's kind of the process. And that's why there's so many barrels, because composting, it takes a lot of time. And we want to make sure that we don't fill this thing up and then we can't use it for like 3 or 4 months because stuff hasn't composted. So that's why for our family of 6, we need at least 6 barrels to do that.
I think, here. I can't remember what I was going to say. There was something else I was going to say about...
It's a very complicated seat, this
Oh.
thing. Yeah, there's lots of different things we had to set up.
Well, people were asking too if we're going to have bathrooms in the house.
Yeah.
Yes, we're for sure having bathrooms in the house. This is not going to be a full-time bathroom. This is also for like when we host workshops, so people have a place to go in here.
Right. I mean, and it will be full-time for a period of time while we build the house, obviously. We want to try to get away from the composting toilet and the Airstream and try to move to this system. But yeah, I mean, since the county requires us to put in a traditional septic system for the house, we're just going to put in traditional toilets now. I mean, we might as well. Like, we've already paid to put the whole septic system in.
We'll have 2 bathrooms.
I have 2 flushing toilets, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't talk very much.
I know you
so
can't.
You're just
I
going to
know.
have to answer
I know.
questions. I think there were some homie questions.
Okay, we're going to answer some questions. You said there were homie questions?
People sent email the other day.
Really? I didn't see that. Here, see if you can find it.
It's gonna take me longer than it's gonna take you.
Okay, hold on. Loading. Hold on. Okay. Sorry, before we get to your questions, we always have to answer our Tiny Shiny Homies questions because they get first dibs. So, Paula asked, do we have to use a special kind of toilet paper with this setup? That's a great question. Do we?
It is better if we use a really cheap, like, septic toilet paper.
Yes, because it'll compost faster because
Yeah.
it's not so thick, it'll break down quicker.
Don't have to, but it will break down faster and aid in that composting process.
Yes. Now, with the actual septic system and like regular toilets, you definitely have to keep that in mind because it's the same kind of thing. You don't want to clog up your septic system, right? But yeah, I mean, if we really wanted to go all luxurious, we could get like the thick toilet paper. We could use it in here if we want. And you just put it down in the barrel with the material. You can, or you can put it in a trash bag and keep it separate. Yeah.
Keeping, like, whatever toilet paper you use, you are supposed to spray that down with some water before you cover anything with wood chips.
Okay. That makes sense. So we are going to keep a spray bottle in here, not only for that, but like I said, to go ahead and put some water down that urine diverter just to like flush things out each time. Yeah. Okay. Now. Sorry, all the coughing. All right, I'm going to find.
I thought there was another homie thing, was there not?
Okay, I'm going to try to answer your questions. Since you're not feeling good, we're going to try to keep today short. So let's get through here. Someone said, what time zone are we talking about? We are Arizona time zone, which is confusing, but this time of year is specific. It changes throughout the year because we don't observe daylight savings time. And it gets real complicated other times of the year, but this year it's easy. We just tell people a specific time. Let's see. Yes, everyone's confused about. So here's a tip. If you go to this video on YouTube before it's live, YouTube will show you the time that it will go live in your time zone based on your computer and how you're logged in. So that's the easiest way to check and know. It'll tell you exactly when it's going to be based on your phone or your computer or whatever. And that way you don't have to guess. Okay, sorry. It scrolls. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, how will the barrels be emptied? We'll just use a shovel and a wheelbarrow or a gorilla cart or whatever. The door is big enough to where we can bring those things in here. So yeah, it's just a matter of shoveling it in. It's not anything complicated. I mean, the only thing we'd really have to be careful about is making sure that that material doesn't go down the urine diverter and clog it up, which would be a problem. So we'll have to think about that, but otherwise, it's pretty simple. You just use a shovel and you get it out. Okay, how often do we aerate it?
At least a couple times a week.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it just depends. If, I know a lot of people are worried about smell. If it smells, you're doing it wrong. It should never smell. It should smell earthy. So it needs more carbon if it smells. It needs more material on top of it.
Okay, yeah, I mean, those wood chips will create a really nice barrier anyway. But yeah, that's the whole idea with the system is that believe it or not, when you separate those liquids and those solids, a lot of that smell is just gone, period. That's not to say you can't still cover it with wood chips if you have combined them. And we did look into that. Like this whole system from Waste Management Group. Is it Waste Management Group?
Arizona Waste
Yeah.
Management.
You can do it either way. You can have it go all in at the same time, or you can separate it like we did. But like we said before, if you combine them, then it is a little harder to keep the smell down, and it takes a lot longer for that composting process, because now you've created sewage, and it's like a year, 2 years, 3 years. It's a really long time when you mix them. Yeah, when you mix them together. So there are a lot of us, and so we're just trying to mitigate that by having enough barrels, hopefully.
If for some reason we needed to empty these barrels and it's not fully composted, we can set up like hardware cloths, circular ventilated area outside, and put all of that material in there.
Like another composting station?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's an option.
Yeah, it can be far away, and it will just break down that much faster if it's in the air. And
yeah. We're not adding any composting enhancers other than just the wood chips.
Shouldn't need to.
No, shouldn't need to. Septic tank costs. So we're actually doing a lot of that ourselves right now, and we'll be digging into that in the future, because I'm literally digging the trenches for the infiltrators right now. Let's see. So, Brian, I think you're late. You said, how do you use all 7 barrels at once? You only use one at a time. You fill one, move to the next one, next one, the next one, next one. By the time the last one is filled, the first one should be composted and be ready to be emptied. Okay, so we've had people ask about if we put some sort of liner in the barrel. Can't do that. Not only is it going to get ripped when you aerate things,
you wouldn't be able to lift it out.
You wouldn't be able to lift it out because of that urine diverter.
Also, it'd be super heavy. There's no way you can lift
55 gallons worth of
solid material.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another reason you don't want to sanitize these barrels either afterwards, like after you empty one, because all that good bacteria that's left on the side of the barrels helps aid in the next batch of compost that you're creating.
Yeah.
So it'll go a little faster each time.
Will we add composting worms?
No.
No. The good thing about Arizona and the sort of dry climate we have is that it does help it compost faster. Because if it gets too wet, then it gets gross. And
it's also why we created a building instead of just like an outdoor open space.
Yeah, that too. Yep. Somebody sent us some Talking Irons money. Thanks, Havasu77. Someone said the men should have to sit when they go to the bathroom. Well, but also we put in a urinal, so, you know.
Or they could pee outside.
No,
you can't pee outside. Because I can't hardly talk.
That's all the questions so far. So, do you have any more questions before we get off here? Oh, I will say this. So, we are basically done with the Casa de Caca. We're not going to show you yet, but we've been extremely busy the last couple of weeks working on the outside, finishing up everything here on the inside. So there won't be any more videos about the Casa de Caca until the full build, which is going to be the big long video, start to finish. It's going to be very exciting. Can't wait to get that done.
Outside
looks really good. We did a totally different thing this time. Pretty excited about it. Yeah. So let's see. Some people are asking about bugs, and that's a great question because we've already had a lot of bug issues, but that's also because it hasn't been sealed until like just yesterday. We finally got our threshold put in on the door and the seal on the bottom of the door. So we're gonna we'll have a debugging period for sure, where we try to make sure the crickets and the spiders and all that stuff are not in here.
Also, we're in Arizona. There's bugs everywhere all the time. It doesn't matter how well you seal it, they're gonna get in.
They do. They always seem to find a way to do this, yeah. Can you collect the off gas?
No, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, it's not worth the trouble. How do the chickens like their new place?
I think they're okay. I have definitely noticed a decrease in the quality of eggs. They're not as orange.
Yeah, they're still laying. They're just not. They don't look as good.
They're not getting the bugs that they usually get. So I wish they were still free range.
Yeah, I know. But that's not an option right now. So
it may be sometime.
Maybe. Yeah. We've already done a few like temporary free range days while we're here.
Yeah.
And we're watching them. But overall, I mean, I think
in the summer, like when the rains really start coming and there's more bugs, we'll for sure be letting them out.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Cat Girl also sent us some money. Thank you, Cat Girl. Okay, it's a good question. Do we have 5 different toilet seats? No. The one toilet seat that we showed earlier.
Do you want to show how it goes off and everything?
No, it's a whole thing. The one toilet seat with the wood and the vents and all that stuff, it comes off and it's got little springs. That's why on the barrels we put in all those little weird screws and stuff. It says that it will go down into the locator holes. There's bolts on it and then there's springs that will hold it down tight. And so that way you just have to make the one lid and you just move it from active barrel to active barrel. And that flexible RV hose will go with it and will continue to hook to the vent that goes out. Did you say what you were saying? Oh my goodness. Vanna sent us some money. Thanks, Vanna. Vanna? I don't know how you say it.
Probably Vanna.
Yeah. All right, guys. So sorry to keep this one short.
Not feeling well.
Ashley to feel better. But yeah, we're going to be back we'll have some other videos non-outhouse related before that full build comes out. So keep an eye out for that. But otherwise, we're done with this building and we're so excited.
We're not using it yet.
No, we have to finish the septic and get it inspected. And that is like my life this week is digging holes and ditches. So much dirt. So anyway, is that it?
Yep.
All right, friends, we're out. We hope you have a great rest of the week. We'll talk to you soon.